So continuing my Cambodia trip, I find myself in Battambang, third largest city in the country with a population of about 200,000 people. Starting off, here's where I'll be staying, and honestly I was pretty happy with it, even more so when I seen the entrance to this place. I was kind of worried for a second that I booked the wrong place, but luckily that's just the entrance. Then it was time to explore and see what temples, monuments, statues and anything else really I can see on a walk around. First, going to a roundabout I came past on the bus journey into the city. Then I figured I should head back towards the river, look around at some more temples, monuments that are located next to the river that runs right through the city. Walking past the Independence Monument here, another temple which ended up having another school in its grounds, which is definitely a common theme here. And walking the streets of Battambang, I came across this statue, which I can only guess is a fertility statue maybe. I'm not too sure because I couldn't find much about it, but hey, they look like they're having fun anyway. After that I eventually arrived at another roundabout with one of the more famous landmarks here in Battambang. I mean, if you Google this city, this is what comes up quite a lot. And there were still a few more temples and sights to see before I finished my loop around the river. And they definitely had some interesting buildings, statues in the grounds as well, so that was pretty cool to look around and explore. And then I honestly just chilled for a bit. Got some food until my new favourite tuk-tuk driver came to pick me up and take me to an older temple here. That was located a bit further out of the city, 11 kilometers north of the centre anyway. This temple, built in the 11th century, originally as a Hindu temple during the Khmer Empire, with a lot of the temples I've seen in Cambodia that were originally built around this time period. They start out as Hindu temples dedicated to Vishnu, but then gradually over time are converted to Buddhist sites. Also, this temple's architecture shares similarities with the more famous Angkor Wat that reflects the architectural style of the era. And if you've seen my previous video, you'll have seen all about Angkor Wat. And again, over time, a Buddhist temple and a large Buddha statue were added to the site, showcasing Cambodia's religious evolution. And that concludes anything interesting I did on day 1. On to day 2. So far in my previous city that I was in, Siem Reap, it was about $1 for a gym day pass, which I thought was pretty cheap, but this gym here is even cheaper at half the price, only 50 cents, which later I found out the reason is probably because you kind of have to share the gym with a few thousand mosquitoes. Then on my way back for the gym, I walked past the central market in Battambang that is situated in the heart of the city that serves as the primary hub for a wide variety of goods, including fresh produce, meat, seafood, clothing, jewellery and other household items. Then I met back up with my tuk-tuk driver and headed to one of the more famous attractions here, the bamboo train, which, considering it has the word train in its title, I wouldn't necessarily call it that, but for $5 you can ride on this piece of bamboo with an engine strapped to it, which can actually go pretty fast, 30 miles per hour apparently. And I'm also guessing the health and safety guys didn't make their way this far into Cambodia anyway. Southeast Asia in general, to be fair. Careful and hold on with what you can if you don't have the best balance. The original track dates back to the French period and formed part of the line connecting Phnom Penh, the Thai-Cambodian border, but with wear and tear from the often brutal climate and the bombs and mines from the years of wars, the route was inoperable for several decades. But it's now used as a tourist attraction. Also, these tracks are still used by the trains themselves, so whenever a train comes through, you have to jump off the bamboo train and take it off the tracks and let the train pass, otherwise I imagine it's not going to end too well for you on this little piece of bamboo anyway. Then, heading more to the outskirts of Battambang, I arrived at a limestone mountain known for its religious significance and tragic past. It features temples, shrines, caves and more. And you can get a lift on the back of a bike to take you to the top, but where's the fun in that? I have my hiking sliders on, so I figured why not walk to the top of the mountain and see everything it has to offer on the way, because there's a lot to see on this mountain. And the views on the way up, you can see the countryside and just the greenery in general, which is a view I don't think I could ever get tired of. Then I stumbled upon a darker side of the history when it comes to Cambodia, the Killing Caves. In these caves from 1975 to 1979, many people were murdered during the reign of Pol Pot, which, for those of you who don't know, was the communist Cambodian dictator that committed the Cambodian genocide, killing approximately 25% of the country's population at the time. Other people were murdered outside these caves and then thrown into them from above. As well as when you venture down into these caves, you do get a feeling of something not being quite right. It's hard to explain really. Then after looking at another view, I carried on the path, which the next stop was a golden Buddha, and there's a few of them dotted around this mountain. And as I said, there's a lot to see on this mountain, just like some viewpoints with some great views, a lot of statues and temples dotted around the mountain as well. So it's definitely something I'd recommend if you're in this city. It's free and there's a lot to see, so that's a win-win. And also, this mountain is home to many monkeys, not just at the top of the mountain but all the way down as well. So I wouldn't recommend staring any of the big boys in the eyes, because I wouldn't want to fight them. No chance they stick within the rules when fighting. Even street fight rules are out the window. The teeth on some of these guys are huge. But if you leave them alone, then they'll leave you alone. Just don't be a stupid tourist and you'll be fine. I imagine they're mostly used to people by now visiting this mountain every day. But I still don't trust them, because given the chance, anything I have in my hands, if they get hold of it, they'll run up a tree and I'll never see it again. And the walk down doesn't take as long as you think, because it's pretty steep. And at the bottom of this mountain there's carvings into the mountain. There's a giant Buddha laying on its side, and the main Buddha as well that you can see in this video, the head is a slightly different colour, and that's because that's the original. and then during COVID they carved out the body and the other images around, and more things for the tourists to look at, I guess. And next to these carvings is the Bat Caves, which provide a spectacular sunset treat where visitors can witness a nightly spectacle of thousands of bats emerging from the caves. That can last up to about 30 minutes. The reason is simply because the bats are coming out to hunt for the insects. And there's actually 3 caves in total, but this one on the eastern side is definitely the most popular one, seems to attract all the attention. And if you're wondering why the quality of the video looks slightly different, that's because my GoPro couldn't really pick up the bats themselves without any natural lighting, aka the sun, since it's sunset. But it's pretty cool to see, that's for sure. No wonder why it's always on all the tourist attraction lists I looked at before I came here. And yeah, that pretty much sums up my 2 days in Battambang. But my Cambodian trip isn't finished just yet, so if you want to see where I head off to next, make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.